Thanks for watching. This is my mock interview for my 506 class. I'll be doing a mock session with a client. Her name is Vanessa. Vanessa is a 40-year-old Caucasian female who has a 6-year-old son who is currently residing with his father. Vanessa has some education, some college education, but not any kind of graduation. She didn't graduate or anything. She just has some minimal college education. Vanessa is currently dealing with mental health issues as well as her incarceration that she's currently serving 6 months in the county jail for her second over-the-eye charge. She will be seeking treatment while in jail, and she'll be doing counseling at that point as well. In this interview, or in this session, I'll be using cognitive behavioral therapy to help work with Vanessa. CBT, or cognitive behavioral therapy, will be helpful with this client to help her understand how, like, her thoughts and her behaviors are affected by, what how everything is affected by her thoughts and her behaviors and her actions. Like I said, Vanessa will be serving 6 months due to her charge and has sought out treatment for her substance use and for her depression and anxiety that she was diagnosed with prior to incarceration. During the process of this interview or through this session of the cognitive behavioral therapy, I'll be doing motivational interviewing techniques with like open-ended questions. I'll be trying to guide Vanessa and to help her understand how further her behaviors are affecting how she's dealing with the loss of her custody of her child, and how that she will be also using downward arrow technique. That will be in order to help her kind of weigh the pros and cons of stopping drinking, hopefully to guide her again to stay away from the alcohol and any other substances that she may be using, and hopes that she will be able to regain custody of her child and kind of manage her depression and anxiety. Thank you. Hi, Vanessa. How are you today?
I'm great, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for coming in. I know we've met before, and I kind of wanted to build on a little bit what we've discussed in the past about your concerns with your alcohol use. Mm-hmm. I know we are currently incarcerated. You're doing 6 months, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. When you get out of jail, what is your motivation to stay away from the alcohol? Is there anything that we need to discuss or kind of find out what we can do now, or building like techniques or anything like that, or anything that we can to get you ready for that time? Because I know we do have 6 months, but I want to kind of start now building that.
Well, maybe help with recognizing that there's a problem.
Okay.
I don't know that I truly believe that there is. I know that obviously I'm incarcerated and that is a problem, but, I don't know that I see this as something that's as bad as other people are maybe thinking it is.
Okay.
And in order to go in the right direction, perhaps I need that clarity.
Okay. Now, have you had anybody in your past ever question, your alcohol use? Not talking about like law enforcement or anything like that.
My ex-husband, sure.
Okay. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Well, I thought he was kind of a fuddy-duddy and just didn't want to have fun, and so he didn't like that I went out as much as I did, but he didn't want to go with me, so I just ended up kind of doing my own thing, and he stayed at home with our son, so
Okay.
I didn't think it was that big of a deal, but he didn't like it.
Okay, so that kind of bothered his relationship with you guys together. Now, is that what caused your breakup?
I mean, it certainly contributed.
Okay.
But no, there's other things too.
Now, I know when we talked in the past, you had said that there were issues that you've lost custody of your child due to alcohol. Is that correct?
Well, again, I don't know that it's that big of a problem, but when you have 2 DUIs, that tends to sway things away from your direction.
Yeah. Okay. Now, you're involved with Children's Services, and their concern was that the alcohol was causing you to fall asleep while you were caring for your child.
That has happened. It only happened a couple of times.
Okay.
And he's 6. I mean, it's not like he's not walking and could fall and hurt himself necessarily, but I do understand that you need to be awake and present for your child.
Sure. Okay, one thing that I'd like to try maybe do is kind of help you understand and see, maybe let's draw up like a pros and cons list.
Okay.
What this is called, it's called a downward arrows technique. It's a technique that we use in cognitive behavioral therapy. And what that is cognitive behavioral therapy is a skill that I use to kind of help you realize how your behaviors and how your thoughts are kind of driving towards certain behaviors and how it affects your behaviors and that kind of thing. So let's try to do the downward arrows technique and see if maybe that can kind of help you look at this aspect of your alcohol use.
Okay.
So we got first your pros and then your cons. And then, so we'll say, pros for quitting drinking and cons for continuing to drink. Okay? Yes.
Sure. You can go either way with that.
Yes,
really.
yeah. Okay, so what would we say would be a reason to stop drinking?
Well, the main thing you come up with is, if I wasn't doing any drinking, I could probably get my son back.
Okay.
If that's a major contributing factor as far as what the courts are saying.
Sure. Okay. 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 And then, what would you say would be something that would cause you to continue to want to drink?
I enjoyed my lifestyle.
Okay.
I enjoyed hanging out with my friends, and that's what my friends do. So
Sure. I totally understand that. I see that, being at your age, you've lived your time frame with, you've lived your life doing a certain behavior. I just want you to try to look at it and try to see, okay, these behaviors have gotten you to where? And that's kind of what this tool's meant for.
Mm-hmm.
So let's kind of look at that a little further. So let's look at how your life was, say, we never drank, okay? You had a magic wand, and you never drank in your life.
Boring.
Okay. That's good to know. I mean, but what would your perfect life be if you had a magic wand? What would your perfect life be?
Well, I would be able to continue doing what I've been doing, and no one would have a problem with it, and I wouldn't have gotten in trouble. I wouldn't have gotten caught. I wouldn't be incarcerated. I would have my son, and maybe my marriage would have survived.
Okay.
Perfect world.
Okay. And I mean, I hear you saying that, things would be a lot more comfortable, and that, you would have your child and your marriage, and, you would be able to still have your life that you think is positive and fun, which is understandable. I want to challenge a little bit of what the alternative could be. Here we are sitting for 6 months. We are incarcerated for 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to kind of open your eyes up to what happens when we do continue to drink. And I'm not saying that if you choose to continue to drink that this is going to be your future. I just want you to kind of look at it on the outside of, this is something that is a possibility. And No.
Well, a pro to not doing it would be save a lot of money.
Okay.
It's expensive to go out. Sometimes there's cover charges. It's much more expensive to drink out of a bar than to drink at home. But drinking at home is no fun because no one's there.
Sure.
There's no music and all that kind of stuff. So there's a
Okay. Now, what do you get out of going out and drinking and stuff? Not like what I'm meaning is like socially. What do you get out of that?
It is. It's a very social thing. I like the liquid courage, they call it, and confidence, right? I loosen up. I'm able to talk to people easier. There are people there that aren't in my home.
Sure.
If I'm having a drink at home.
Yeah.
And, I get attention from men. I'm a single woman. That feels good too. And again, that goes along with the liquid courage. It makes it a little easier to be open. I'm shy sometimes, and so I'm not as shy when I'm drinking, and so there's a lot of positives that go along with it.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe it's not a good thing that I quote need that in order to have those feelings.
And I appreciate that you're recognizing a little bit that the alcohol isn't necessarily something that could also lead to negative aspects, but that you're seeing that it is something that could be a negative.
Sure.
And that's our beginning. And I want to kind of look at it as that. Let's kind of build on that aspect of where we are now, and I want you to kind of see what our behaviors have created. And I want to look at if we were to say right now, I know with it, while you're incarcerated, it's kind of hard to say because alcohol is not available. But if we were to be out in the world, what would be your likelihood right now? And it could be, that you're not ready to quit drinking or anything like that, and that's totally fine. But just out of curiosity, where would you be at on a scale of 1 to 10 of being willing to quit?
It's probably a pretty low number.
Okay.
Probably like 3 or 4.
Rightfully so. That's totally understandable. I do want to know what there can be, like what we can do to make that number higher.
Well, if I were given an absolute that you will never have your child in your life, those kinds of things, that would certainly change my mind.
Okay. That's...
But I would argue that how many mothers and wives put their kid to bed and have a glass of wine? So why can't I do the same thing?
Of course. I think, we do have to look at that in moderation. And I'm, not saying what you're doing is any different than the other person, but, I just want to just kind of look at it from the outside perspective of, could be something that,
those wives and mothers aren't in jail.
Yeah.
I get that.
And, I get the banter and the humor about it, and I do question, or I do have my concerns that it is early in your recovery or your decision making, I guess, right now, and that I would say that maybe we continue this as we go, and that's kind of what I want to do is just kind of use techniques to kind of build your understanding. Now, my other question is how we're doing with our anxiety and depression since we've been incarcerated.
Not great.
Okay. What have you been doing to manage those things?
I mean, there's really not much I can do. There's not, high-powered psychologists available or medications or whatever. So, I mean, you're kind of just left to your own devices.
Okay.
And I get stuck in my head an awful lot.
Okay.
I mean, it's not fun.
Okay.
To be here.
Have you considered doing any kind of journaling or anything like that? See if maybe you can get some of those thoughts that are in your head down on paper and at least get them out of you.
I could do that.
Okay. I would, I think that would be kind of helpful. It would help, if you felt comfortable for me to see those thoughts, because that way I can actually be able to help you more by knowing kind of in those tough times when things are feeling really rough and hard for you, what it is that I can do to help. Another technique that I like to use is called a thought record. It's another CBT technique that we use, and basically what that is when you get those negative thoughts coming in, that you're never going to get your kid back or anything like that, that you basically write down a thought of, this is what my main thought is. You continue down. You want to actually then build on that and say, okay, well, how do I change? What do I got to do to change that first thought from happening? It's kind of one of those checking the facts kind of situation. And I think that would be something that would be helpful for you, and that will also be helpful for you for your alcohol use. It'll check your facts on, is it still something that's beneficial for you to continue to do once you get out of jail.
And maybe use that same kind of thing to track how often, because there's been some back and forth on how often I'm doing it, and I guess I couldn't lie if I was writing it down myself every time I did it.
Yeah.
I'd have to be honest about it.
Yeah, definitely. And that would be, that's definitely something that a lot of people do. They keep like a journal of, their alcohol intake, what kind of feelings are happening when they are drinking or using any kind of substance. And then, kind of what comes out of those kind of situations. If it is that I'm out partying, or, I've gotten a DUI again, or, I've done anything.
Or nothing happened.
Exactly. Or, I stayed home and I drank a couple glasses of wine. Those are the kind of things. So, yes, that's actually a really a good idea for you as well. So I kind of want you to build on those things for now, and I would say that we'll continue to meet and kind of continue to build our tools and get you ready and see where we need to go from here. Okay. Do you have any questions or concerns for me?
Hi, first I want to say thanks for viewing my mock session with Vanessa. As you just viewed, I was working with Vanessa, whom is currently incarcerated due to some multiple OMBI charges. During the session, I focused a great deal of time on her use and how that use has affected her life, and the relationship that she has with her child, and how that's affecting her emotionally and physically. I also spent some time looking at how, like I said, her mental health is being affected by her incarceration as well as her substance use. During this session, I used cognitive behavioral therapy to work with this client. I feel that CBT is a great tool to use with this type of client that are trying to understand how their behaviors and their thoughts are affecting, how they are and who they are. With Vanessa, it was important to help her understand how her alcohol use is affecting her life, and how the life that she wants with her child, and the fact that she doesn't currently have custody of her child, and that her husband is keeping her child away from her due to currently because of her incarceration and those kind of things. During this session, I used the couple different techniques. One of them was the downward arrow technique, where I helped Vanessa weigh her pros and cons of her continued use, or her actual stopping, abstaining from the alcohol. This technique helped enlighten her a little bit, I think, on what effects that it did have on her life, and how if she were to abstain from alcohol, what it is that she would actually get out of those, out of her life from that point. Also, I used motivational interviewing and open-ended questioning to help engage Vanessa as well. Another couple questioning techniques that I used were the miracle question and scaling questions. I think that those are good tools or to help gauge kind of like the client's readiness and for change, because it at least it makes them make it helps them put like a number for like the scaling question, put a number on where they're at, and it helps us both work together and see what it is that we need to do to increase the number if it is that that's what we need to do. The challenge that I think that I faced with working with Vanessa is like what I will face, I think, with many clients that are incarcerated, or first that their concern is after they're released from the jail or prison, whatever it is, what kind of support that they're going to have. And so I tried to impose and help her understand that that would be part of like my tool would be is to set her up for outpatient, or I guess it would be more upon release, it would be like a reentry type situation. And I find that, you know, there is some reluctance in a lot of people that are being released from incarceration because they don't have the resources to, you know, obviously many of them have lost jobs, and so they don't have insurance or didn't have insurance even before they went to jail. So, you know, they don't have the insurance to get the help the continued help that they would need to continue to stay clean. So I think it's important to, you know, with this type of clientele, that we focus on developing programs more for the reentry type of situations to help these clients. I think with the first or the early stages of treatment, it's important to help them understand and let them kind of guide a little bit of the treatment. So I kind of wanted to allow Vanessa to kind of look at her own life and do the journaling. I suggested that at the end, that she journal and that she kind of do some thought records, which is another tool that I've learned with cognitive behavioral therapy that helps her take the thoughts that she's having that are negative and check the facts. These are the things that, you know, a lot of the times when people that are incarcerated, or even anybody that's dealing with mental health or any kind of substance use, a lot of the times they become very black and white, all or nothing kind of thinking. And I find that, you know, if you can check the facts, it's easier to kind of determine if it is, you know, am I truly experiencing these specific things, or am I truly believing that this is the situation? Either way, I appreciate you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed my interview, and I want to thank you for watching again. Thanks. Bye.